You shut down unexpectedly. No. Bear with me. Tonight, it says we are live, and we should be live. Let me get rid. It's always fun watching Boogie with the Bull Uncensored start because I don't know what I'm doing, but I have a lot of fun doing it. So here, Chuck Cook is with us at the start. As we go, we'll be on tonight till about 9 o'clock, some later, but we will be done by 9 o'clock tonight so that my wife can sleep because she is working tomorrow. I think the first time since second time, I believe, since she got out of the hospital. So, night sleep before she goes into work tomorrow morning. I'm watching on the Dave Global Live. So, but that's not what it's showing me is not the right. So, I may have to try another trick here. There we are. We are live. If you go to my profile and you tap the post and you don't see the correct broadcast playing, then go to the top of my skeleton profile picture there should be and if you tap that, it would bring you to wherever we are. Just modern technology and Facebook making it harder and harder to do what we do. Jane O'Malley is watching. William Grant is watching. Michael Anthony and is invited to come on if he wishes. Anyone else that did not get a link and has a message for America on and join the broadcast if you wish. I want to say hello to Ashley. Oh God, I didn't write it down. Now I didn't write her name down. Right here in my email from yesterday. Ashley Fortney. Ashley Fortney. YouTube channel. Maybe she'll be watching tonight. If you are, hello to you. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, I get an email every time somebody does that. Use Facebook Messenger, or even if you're on YouTube and you can message through YouTube, I don't know if you can do that. Send me a message and tell me something about you, please. If you're on YouTube, tell me from broadcast over on YouTube, and if you to come on to talk about your broadcast, because that's what we like to do. We like to let everybody know about everybody else's broadcasts, as well as what is going on in the world. A couple of small things. I'm really getting tired of people who are belly aching now that Elon Musk is going to. He only had 130 days. The 130 days are up the end of May. Knowing President Trump to find a very qualified person to continue. And to be honest with you, if he hasn't, maybe he's going to do the job himself. Why? Because this is what we needed him to do. He's the president of the United States. Doge is of the in the executive branch. It is funded by the executive branch. It does not have congressional money in it. And that's very important because a lot of Congress people are going to be to explain why they have a lot of your tax money that they should not have. And that's people in both parties. So if you want to see this continue, and as in classic Trump style, we will get told who is going to take over Doge and what personnel they're going to bring in or keep with them to do the job that they're doing. Plus, there's another person who repeatedly puts up a post that goes into full detail Barack Obama's executive order, the United States Digital Service.
Yep.
They took over what was supposed to be the Obamacare website and everything else because it was riddled with problems. President Trump, United States Digital Service, and changed it to United States Doge Service. So it's still USDS. It is still doing the same thing. In fact, under Barack Obama and United States Digital Service, if you were a government failed to do the reports required to do and give the executive office of the president of your government agency to make sure you were in fact doing what you were supposed to do, you could get in a lot of trouble. So let's just stop every night, everybody complaining that he's looking into social. He's found millions of dollars that are people or people that they're not supposed to, and hopefully that will strengthen the program. Maybe you will get a raise. Maybe the raise in 2026 now. Could you imagine that?
No. Yeah. Believe it when I see it.
No, I'm not ever saying what I get, but I get $100 a month. If I got $3,000, they can afford to pay me, and that's what I've earned. I could actually afford to live. Pay my bills just like everybody else, and have a pretty decent life. But by no means is 12 times 3, $36,000 a year, a lot of money. But, if you manage right, and you have a wife or a husband who is bringing in $72,000 a year is a pretty decent amount of money to live on, especially if half of it is not taxable, and the other half shouldn't be anyway. And we live in, it's not. We don't pay federal income tax. I mean, we don't pay state. And if you're not getting a federal income, then we're doing. I do subscribe to the theory that maybe if President Trump can figure out the system and get it where it should be so that it's fair and equal to everybody, equal to us, maybe, just maybe, we money that could go toward operating the government, and personal income tax wouldn't be how it is being done. Larry Estes is watching, and everybody's saying hello to everyone else in the live chat, and I always take my eyes off the screen, and I keep making this person wait in the green room longer than he should, and I have to change it to see if maybe there's a sound effect that will tell me when there is someone in the green room, so that I could go, oh wow, mystery, sign in please. Good evening, Jerry. How are you?
I'm fine. I was about to go to sleep, but that's fine. Now I have to go awake and stuff, but whatever. It's fine. How you doing,
Well,
Dave?
we're gonna
How
end.
are you?
I'm good. We're gonna end somewhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock because my wife has to go to bed early because she has to get up and work early. So
Tomorrow's Saturday.
I'm not gonna keep
No,
anybody.
Friday.
No, today's Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. Today
Yeah,
is Thursday.
yeah, every week. All right,
Yes.
good.
I
Whatever.
feel
Yes.
like a bobblehead.
You were on last night, and before I lost my internet, I told you that I would be on tonight.
Yeah, we advertised it.
And then mysteriously, then my internet came back on, but my wife was watching something that I just didn't want to say, hey, I'm taking the studio back. Because then she would have beat me and I wouldn't be here tonight.
Well, there is that. You got to take that into account at all times. Yes. This is why I keep telling you, get a window unit and put it in the window in the garage and be out in the garage, Dave.
There you go.
There you go.
I would do that, but miraculously enough, our the people that we live with use the garage for what a garage is supposed to be used for.
Okay. Well, Dave, there's only so much I can do for
I
you.
know.
And if you can't find somebody to steal both their cars, I don't know what to tell you. Jesus Christ. I can't
Okay,
do
all right.
everything, Dave.
That's
I'm an idea man. That's
I
all.
know.
I'm an idea.
Life therapy with Jerry Michaels. That's actually could be a very successful broad. People come on and tell you their problems, and you could tell them what to do in 30 seconds or less, or bounce them if you didn't want to talk to them at all.
Yeah, I would say
Might be a lot.
grow the fuck up and
Yeah.
shut the fuck up and get away from me. Stay off my grass. Yeah.
Yeah, that could be very
Some
interesting.
people they got child. I swear to God, you go on the internet and some people have like childhood problems and then they throw a literal temper tantrum. And these are grown up people. I mean, because some of them got gray hair and they're insane.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that many of them existed, but apparently they do because they're here amongst us on the World Wide Web Nation.
Robin
Yeah,
has
they
just
are.
Hey, there's Robin. How you doing, Robin? Larry, William, Jane, uh,
yeah.
and that's it. Well,
Michael Anthony said he had to go take a walk. He needed the exercise. Evidently, he's been sitting all day, and so he had to go stretch his legs. But he might be back later. So.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah. I hope because he asked or he said
What
it.
did you do now, Dave?
He made a comment. Well, no, he made a comment about Facebook now taking broadcasts that are 30 days old off of Facebook, and too much information on why, because no one really cares why. They're just doing it. But I went on and gave him a technical explanation as to why they are doing it. They're not doing it to get rid of my broadcast so people can't see them. Well, that maybe they're doing it, but my live streams retires 30 days anyway because I'm only allowed space there. So they're recorded over with another 30 days. And if I really wanted them that badly, then I would make sure I was recording them on access to them. But anyway, life is too short to worry. Robin Brunson asks if you had a wonderful birthday, Jerry.
I'm 63 years old, Robin. There's no such thing.
Shit, you're just a youngin' yet.
I prefer. Would you give me a break? I would prefer to just nobody knew about it. Frankly,
Okay.
that would make me happy. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Well, then we won't discuss it. Okay, people, we won't discuss it anymore.
I mean, luckily it's only one
Doc,
day.
what's new and exciting with you? Oh,
I'm sorry. I'll just shut up over here.
no. I'm sorry, Jerry. I'm sorry, Jerry. Go
Something
ahead.
just happened. I don't know what it was, but Dave exploded.
Go ahead, Jerry.
I don't remember what I was saying.
Oh, see, there you go. Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Apparently
Hell, yes.
that's it.
I
I
think it was-
guess. I don't know.
I think it was along the lines that you didn't want us to notify you that we know that yesterday was a special day, and I'll leave it at that.
Well,
Right.
Dave, I appreciate everybody's nice thoughts. Don't get me wrong. But I don't really celebrate my birthday. I don't celebrate very many holidays. Thanksgiving, pretty much is it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
my birthday means nothing to me. My sobriety date, I guess, means something, but only for one
Yeah.
day. The rest of the time, it's like, okay, and not even for one day. About a half hour. Yeah, it's over with. It's like, okay, whoop-de-doo. Yeah, so
Yeah.
not
Well,
big on
That's a hard
celebrations.
thing to do.
Not
Yeah.
big on celebrations. I don't know, especially when
Okay.
they're for me.
Oh,
It's like
okay.
people they come and people that hate you come and say nice things, and you know you hate them, and they hate you, and wondering why. People give you as made on TV gifts. As seen on TV rather. They. There's always the guy that comes near you and very, very close and talks right in your face, because he's a close talker. And then you keep the most of the time you spend looking at the clock, wondering why it isn't going faster. Yeah. So I live with my wife up here, and I have no friends that would can get here. So I feel like I'm insulated from all the too much celebrating. What is there to be happy about at 63 years old? I don't know. I know I'm not as strong as I used to be. I don't have the
In my head,
stamina I used to be, and I'm just a wore out old man, literally.
yeah.
I don't know when this happened, but I don't like it at all. I can tell you that.
yeah, I can definitely feel.
They put.
I can definitely feel getting up there now.
Yeah.
I'm closer to 70 now than I was to 60. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sucks.
well, here's the deal. I got sober at 32. I figured I'd be dead by 35. I'm now 63 and I haven't had a plan since. Uh, so, you know, uh, with my luck, I'll live to 96, which I don't want to do because you seem useless at that age. You get up and you go to the bathroom, you need a 3 hour nap. It's not my deal. It's not my deal. You're eating prunes and
I would.
green jello and not even
Yeah.
good green jello, just oof. And I like strawberry jello, so
I was
cherry.
going to ask. I was going to ask you if there were any good Jello
I like jello.
flavors.
It's fine. There's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
jello. I just I feel as if 96, unless you can like move around and do stuff. I'll be in a home or something. What good is that?
Well, you're still here, Jerry, because you're not done yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question
They're
I
not done
got.
yet.
What else is there to do?
Well,
Because
you take care of
the job list has not come down from heaven or hell or wherever, and they seem to be taking their sweet ass time showing me the way what I'm supposed to be doing. According to all you people, God will tell me, and He's not saying shit to me. I'm telling you right now, He's not saying nothing. So I sit in my chair, and I often wonder if when I'm taking a nap or something, if maybe He called and nobody answered. I don't know. What you think?
Yeah. Hi,
I don't know.
Tina.
Hey
Hi,
Tina,
Tina.
I don't see Tina. Why don't I? Some of
Yeah.
the comments from Facebook don't show up on my screen. Why is that? I wonder.
They don't. They don't show up on my screen, and a lot of times, a lot of them never make it to the restream screen, which makes it
Yeah,
hard to grab them and share them.
yeah.
And I always apologize to people if I don't share your comment. You know,
Well,
tell
on
me to.
Elon Musk,
I mean, I
they
know I you
same
stream.
thing. But the
Yeah,
same thing on Elon Musk. You go over there, and it's like it doesn't happen too often, but every once in a while, one will pop up on
yeah.
either Facebook or X, or well, not X. I think we've had one comment on X, but Facebook, and it won't be on the screen. That's a weird thing. Who
Yeah.
knows, Jerry? When you're 93, you still could be driving and still be getting things done around the house. Haven't I done enough, Rob?
Well,
Damn. 90
Clint
fucking
Eastwood,
three. Somebody
Clint
else can't handle
Eastwood
that
is
shit?
Clint Eastwood is 94.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. I understand what she's saying. But,
And,
like, I'm a guy, I work with my hands my whole life, and my hands are failing me. They're hard to hold shit and
yeah,
all this crap. And apparently that happens
yeah.
to a lot of guys because of, especially people who work with their hands because they bang their hands and get arthritis, blah, blah. So if I can't do that, I don't have nothing to look forward to. That's the problem. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be saving anybody's life or, I don't know, any kind of anything important. Um, and my main talent is having a very large mouth and voice, and that nobody listens to or does what I say. And so I don't know what the hell. Jerry, have you seen the movie Gran Torino with Clint? Get off my lawn. Yeah. I also saw him commit suicide by other people in that movie. Is that a hint? I don't know. I'm not taking bullets for no Filipinos or whatever, Vietnamese.
Mhm.
Damn, Jane, you got a cold streak in you. Uh,
Woo.
I mean, what am I just don't know what to do. I got my wife to take care of, but you know, if she goes before me, which I actually hope doesn't happen, but the hell am I supposed to do? I don't got nothing to do.
Damn. I think the pollen is starting to come out up here in Wisconsin. I'm starting to sneeze, and the eyes are itching and watering. And damn.
Who knows? At
Damn.
93, you could be president. Well, if I'm president, Robin, start digging out that bunker because we got problems. He
Yeah.
just reminds me of you. He's tough but has a heart. Oh, I have a heart. It's just for very few people because I find people exceedingly stupid. I know this because I'm exceedingly stupid. I just try to keep my stupid to myself as much as possible and not on, to where it affects other people. I'm not always successful, but you know what I mean. Uh, we're all dumb sometimes. I get that, but I try to keep that to a minimum for what the hell are we doing here?
I don't know.
I see a picture. First of all, this is insane, and it looks like a shadow.
I think
Oh,
he's
that's
walking.
Michael Anthony. That might.
Oh, yeah. I guess I could have read his name right there on the screen. What do you know?
I was going to say my chiropractor's going to love him for holding that camera sideways like that.
Yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
nice streets and cars and
I
some
think he's
grass
looking
there.
for. I think he's
Oh,
looking for chemtrails.
there he goes.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
was. Yep, he was. He wanted to
And
show
he's,
us that there were no Teslas in it
are there
or
are
around
there
him tonight.
chemtrails on the ground? I thought they were in the
no,
sky.
he was showing you the flowers.
I didn't see any flowers.
He was
See, I
showing you
miss
the
everything.
flowers. He was showing you no chemtrails, no Teslas around. Then we all of a sudden lost the signal with him.
Oh well.
Hang on just a second. Somebody else talk for a second.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
at least we can say we saw him there for a little bit.
Hey, Jolene is here. Hello, Jolene. See, we got Jane is here.
He's here.
Jolene. We got like 3 or 4 women watching us now, which is weird. Well, they've always watched Dave. Jane has anyway. It used to
Jane
be just
has.
like Jolene.
Jolene watched you.
And then Robin would come in once in a while. There was a military helicopter that went over my house here an hour ago. Huh. Did they drop any leaflets? Like, go home, you Yankee running dog? Anything like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Be leery from the ones from George Soros that tell you to go to the nearest train station.
Yeah. No, Robin says no. Robin, I was joking. You didn't really have to answer that. I'm sorry.
I was joking too.
We used to have them come over my house all the time, and I swear to God, they fly like 75 foot off the ground over my house. I can never figure out why, but I ain't seen them in a long time.
Huh.
I think we're in the flight path to the Jacksonville Naval Air Station.
Well, we got an air station too. That's why
I don't know.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
We have a fighter wing up.
There were rumors that there was
helicopter
a CIA airstrip or something down at the Cedar Key Airport, which I didn't even know they had an airport down in Cedar Key, but yeah.
Yeah, we have a tactical fighter wing up in Madison, with Truax Field up there.
Do they drop wedges of cheese on people?
No, fuck no, man. They're going 455,000 miles an hour. They go. What the hell was that? Yeah.
It's shredded cheese. They drop shredded cheese.
Good one, Dave. Shredded cheese. I'm good with that. Just go like that. Yeah.
My luck, a bird would fly over and shit in my mouth.
Listen, again, I'm an idea man. All right, I am not into the whole plan. That's up to you guys.
No. Well, I learned on a very sunny day in Massachusetts, do not take Lincoln Town Car and drive it to a car wash because there's a whole air wing of birds that are just waiting for you to come out.
Yep. What is it with that?
And naturally, you don't.
What is it? Either it's that or it rains.
Right.
Yeah.
Because like in Florida, I don't know how it is up
you
north, but down here, very few people use their garage for what it's meant for.
Right. It's all
because
storage.
The garage is usually storage, or in a lot of cases, actually another room. Usually illegally, because you're not really allowed to make it a room because it's below. Technically, it's below the flood. If it floods, that step up like where most people put their washer and dryer and air handler and all that.
Yeah,
is to keep the water out of the house. That's what that step is for.
Yeah. So I think I had heard that you're not supposed to make a garage, a bed, a room that you chance that your water heater explodes. Heard of it happening. I've never seen it happen.
I've never heard of that happening. I guess it could. If it gets clogged enough, I guess it could, yeah. From the heat. I would think it would burn out first.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never heard of that. Okay. I guess that's a thing. I'm sure it's happened.
I don't know.
I'd
Yeah.
rather
Maybe
have
it's just
cheese
that it
fall
all of a
from the
sudden
sky than wear in my
floods your
head.
garage.
I'd rather have cheese fall from the sky than wear in my head. Huh. Oh, wear it on my head. Yeah, well them Packer fans, they ain't right. They're not right.
Well, she's a Minnesota Vikings fan, being in Iowa.
Really?
Yeah, well,
Wow.
most Iowans are Minnesota fans.
Be true.
That's like being a Jet fan. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Something
Except
like
you
that.
win more games and then lose. We don't win any games and never even get a chance to get to the playoffs.
Well, I heard the Vikings are going to sign Aaron Rodgers now, so the Jets don't.
What is it with Aaron Rodgers following in what's his name's footsteps?
Isn't
Brett
that
Favre.
something? Yeah.
That's weird, man.
Hmm.
Although I have to say, I think Brett Favre had a lot left in the tank. Even when he went to the Jets, the reason that it didn't work out was because he hurt himself
Right.
or got hurt, whatever.
Yep.
And he was out for the first time, I don't know, ever. And he just wasn't, But Aaron Rodgers did not seem like. I mean, I know he got hurt for like fourth play of last season, or 2 seasons ago, but he just wasn't the same.
Right.
I wish everybody'd get off his ass. I mean, he's a different kind of guy. There's no doubt of that. But everybody gets on him because he's got a different opinion or something like that, and he's fucking liberals hate him because he didn't believe in COVID and didn't get vaccinated and all that bullshit.
Right.
But neither did a lot of people.
Well,
And I guess it was a good thing that they
in the NFL, a couple guys didn't, and they ended up getting cut and their careers cut short because of it. He was Aaron Rodgers, so that didn't happen to him.
There. I saw the light.
you saw the
Yeah, I had
I
a,
saw the light. I was baptized.
I saw one of our escorts that come up here to Janesville a lot to haul concrete beams and stuff, but he lives down in Paducah, Kentucky, and his church got totally leveled last night. Big old tornado came by, and
Oh
he
shit!
showed some pictures and stuff on Facebook there, and yeah, it's pretty bad. But they've got
Black
an
guy or
alternate.
white guy?
He's a white guy.
Oh, because there's a black guy that he'd been home rebuilding that fucker. That's what they do. Them people, they don't care. Especially if it's an old wooden church, they'll get out there and rebuild the damn thing. I've seen it happen. Black people don't play, and there's always food, and the food's good.
Food's always good.
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's like the old
Yeah.
days where the women would like cook a bunch of shit, and the guys would go build something, like a barn or something, and then you'd eat a big meal, and everybody's very happy.
Yeah, and they got the shit done.
Oh yeah, in like a day or two.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
and mess around.
And that's the way to go, right there. That's community. And then once they build it, you're on your own. Then your turn to go help somebody else.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
You drive by.
I would do that if I like people and everything. Like if my neighbor needed something, I'd help him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm more of a giver than
Always.
a taker. You know,
We drive a bunch of abandoned churches here in the area where every Sunday when we drive by them, you can't fit one more car in the parking lot.
Well,
And I don't know where they put the rest of the cars.
a lot of the preachers work regular jobs when they have small churches. That's why. We have one here. If you go, same thing. Go by it. It looks like an abandoned house or something. But if you happen to go by it on
Yep.
Sunday, there's like I don't even know how they fit that many people in there.
right?
It's
Yeah.
very small, and there's like no steeple or nothing like that. It just looks like a small house.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a sign out front tells you what it is, so that's what it is. But yeah, it's a black church, and a lot of times the preachers they got to go or what is it, ministers or whatever, they got to go. They work during the week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And they still have preachers that like traveling preachers too that get hired on here in a couple years and there a couple years and onward.
Hmm.
Well, that sounds like the Catholic Church, and they're moving priests around, but we won't go into that tonight.
Yeah, we know what's behind
Okay.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a priest in your parish, or what do they call it? It's not parish, but whatever. And all of a sudden he's somewhere else, like I don't know, Bangladesh.
Diocese in their diocese.
Diocese, yeah, thank you, diocese.
And the
I'm not
diet.
Catholic. I just kind
No,
of.
that's the word. That's the word.
I got it.
Um,
Diocese. Yeah.
yeah, but
I'm not-
you better start asking the children some questions.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh,
Especially if he leaves without saying goodbye, like from the pulpit or something. You know, if he's well liked, usually they'll let him do the mass or something like that on Sunday. You know,
and then he's
instead of,
gone.
Yeah.
and all of a sudden he's gone. Yeah, you may need to ask some questions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, like I say, that's one way. You know.
Hey, you know,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Chuck.
Oh,
I
it's
was
just like
gonna sort of
shout
change.
name.
All
Go,
right,
Dave.
hold on.
Go,
You
Dave.
go, Dave, and then
Okay.
Chuck will go.
I'm sorry.
That's all
I'm
right.
sorry. The internet burped,
It's all
but
good.
it breaks the subject a little bit. But court judge Mark, who's pretty well known up in that area, but not on our side, I believe, judge. But evidently, the other day, walked in with the paperwork to pick up the defense case going on in his court. And they didn't just, make arrangements to pick the defendant when the court case was done. They just went in and said, we have federal paperwork leaving. And Judge Samuel, said, no, we're going to finish what's going on in my court. And then when I'm done, I will, that the defendant is given to you to go on and do whatever you have to do about them. And on the ICE person, I'm going to charge you with contempt of court for coming in and disrupting. What do you think?
I think the judge overstepped his boundaries.
Yeah, I think the judge, first of all, would have saved his taxpayers a whole shitload of money.
Yep.
And second, what's he going to do? Sentence the guy, and then he's going to go. So he's going to leave the country. What's the point, right? And then you, what do you call? Give it to them. And, bye bye. Have a nice day. Next.
Yeah.
I mean, they're always complaining how busy the docket is. I mean, I don't know why the hell they would.
Yeah.
This sounds like a pissing match to me, and I don't see any reason for it. Man, if the ICE guy just walked in and interrupted his court session, that's bullshit too.
That's what he.
Yeah, that ain't right.
He walked in and basically said, there was no communicating with the judge. No, that at some point we are going to have to take this person from you, but go ahead and do whatever you're going to do on the municipal level. Give the guy his day in court, but when you're done, when you whack the gavel down and everybody's done, he's going to leave with us. And that's basically what it seemed Judge Somerville said. Just give me the respect of my courtroom, what we were here to do, and then I don't care what you do.
Well, not only that, it was wrong on both sides, then, because nobody should do that. We ain't allowed to do that. So why should ICE be able to do? You go in. You want people to help you. What's that old saying about honey is better than Cheetos or something? I don't know. But
you get more. I can't remember it.
Okay. But you gotta have honey is better than Cheetos in your head for a month.
You get more. Yeah, you get more bees with a jar of honey than you do with a bag of crushed Cheetos.
Yeah, no, something like that. Yeah, but because why go in there and antagonize a leftist judge in a leftist city, in a leftist freaking state? Why do that?
Yeah.
I mean, and why did he do it? Because he wanted to show how he was all that. And then the judge probably would, he should
And he
have
got
talked to
slapped.
the like who's that, the clerk or whatever, or somebody in there to hand the
Yeah.
judge his papers, and then the judge could have done what he had to do and let the fucking guy get him out of there. That's how
Yeah.
it should work.
And
Everybody's polite
I don't
except the
know
poor
if
guy who's getting deported. Which I say, poor guy. I just
Yeah.
meant that as a figure of speech. Hey, Joe Dell's here. How you doing, Joe
Right.
Dell? Nice to see you.
I don't know if the ICE guy will have to show up, but Judge Somerville slapped him with contempt of court for basically interrupting.
Yeah, he probably. We're looking for rule of law here, and it goes for both sides. And so if it wasn't dropped or something like that, behind the scenes, then he should show up.
Yeah.
That's how it's
I
supposed
don't
to
know
work.
what will go on. Yeah. And Judge Somerville, from what I understand, in the rule of law, is a rule of law judge. It doesn't matter what his political is, and necessarily got him elected as a municipal court judge. The law is the law, and he's there to he's supposed to. But anyway, I just thought I was going to ask him, throw it in.
No,
I
it's a good
figured that
question,
there were two things that could have happened.
Was.
You guys could have said that ICE is right and they did it right, or you could have said no.
No, I think that was wrong on both sides. I don't know. We didn't really hear from Chuck.
What? I'm just giving you shit. No, you're right. It was wrong on both sides, of how that was handled. But yeah, he could have gone, like they said, let the clerk of courts know about it, and then they could have let the judge know about it, and they could have handled it behind closed doors or whatever. I didn't read the whole story or anything like that, so I don't know. But yeah.
I mean, I know what basically happened is that completed whatever he was doing, and then made his people he was going to finish whatever he was doing. As soon as that case was done, more than happy to arraign that defendant.
Handed over,
taken away by ICE. I believe what happened. He dismissed the case. Yelled at the prosecutor for carrying the case or bringing the case before him if he knew to show up and disrupt his court. But
I got to tell you, Dave, I'm liking it more and more as you go along. I wish you'd have told the whole story to start with, because that's exactly what he should have done. If that fucking prosecutor knew that this was going to happen, there's no way this should have wasted all his time and taxpayer dollars on this shit. So that's 3 people that were wrong. Yeah. And you can bet your ass the prosecutor's probably liberal, so he's trying to save the guy and put him in his jail, so it was better than being thrown out to the wolves. And then when he got to the jail, when they let him go eventually, for whatever the hell he did, they just let him out the back door to sneak away.
Right.
That's bullshit. Damn. Yeah, you know what? This is the thing. If we're going to want rule of law in this country and the illegals gone and people not breaking our laws, that means on us on the right, we have no special privileges. We have to follow the law too, and we got to be polite to others, and that includes ICE, and that includes prosecutors, and in this case, judges, everybody. You can't just run roughshod over the other side because you're pissed off. Although I get the do get the idea behind it because it's fun because you're finally on top for a change. But nevertheless, you can't do that. You got to act right.
Yeah,
that's a good question, Dave. I like it. You got any more like that?
The other one that I want, I don't know the guy's name, but the guy in the university pro-Hamas and got set up demonstrations with American students. He was here he is here on a visa. I don't know if he's been deported yet.
No, they've put a hold on it.
Okay, is it right? Students like I think Charlie Kirk has done it in some of his stops, but is it right? Students at those universities and go, if you feel strongly, he's only here on a temporary and graduate and probably go home. Why don't you go home with him? He's going to be deported. If you agree with him and you want to live under that kind of law, call Tom Homan and ask him if you can hop the plane with the guy.
Well, last I heard, he was a member of Hamas. Last I heard, he was an actual member of Hamas.
Okay. I don't know what.
So I don't know
what parents are going to say. Go ahead.
You know what, Dave? If you send your kid to college and that's what they're doing, and they're terrorizing, in this case, Jewish students and whoever the hell else they can, I guess, I don't know, hurting people like they did when they took over the building up there. They hurt the janitor. He ended up in the hospital with something wrong with him. I don't remember. I don't know what it was. Nobody ever said, at least that I know of. You're doing it wrong. And you've raised this child wrong, and you have put them into a situation where they were easily swayed. Because what these fucking people don't understand, the Democrats love them for political reasons. Otherwise, they don't care if they did. Once they get deported, they'll find somebody else to throw into the meat grinder. That's what they do.
Yeah.
These people key into Teslas, these morons are going to end up in jail probably for some time. Yeah. And the Democrats will just move on to the next thing. They don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not fighting a good fight. All you're doing is pissing off real Americans, and I might say real Americans probably on both the right and the left. Because nobody wants that shit. And not to mention, you're keying a car that more than likely the person who owns it is a leftist.
Yep.
Although maybe something Mark Kelly gave up his and bought a Galaxy Tahoe.
That guy.
Wasn't
he an astronaut or something?
Yeah, he was. I can't remember the name of his wife, but she got shot at her own, and I think she got shot in the face. It was
holy shit.
It was pretty.
No, that's not good.
Pretty messed up.
I'm not for that.
For a while.
I'm not for that.
She was the active senator, and I believe which under the rules of both, you're allowed. He may have won it in the election, but I believe.
Before I see
the Senate. Yeah, the Senate has rules that allow Songus in Massachusetts got sick. He wanted to serve right up until he died. So his wife stood back and he ran and he served until he couldn't serve anymore. And then the people of his Senate district would have elected his wife.
Right. Well, yeah.
She took over until the end of term, and then she ran, and she overwhelmingly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I didn't know. I knew about the wife thing. Not the first time that's happened.
Now, Dianne Feinstein's daughter wheeling her in and yelling, "Vote!" No, I wouldn't confirm that person.
No.
As
no.
senator.
No, that would be. That was that was a clown show. That was a clown show, and unfortunately affected a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know. These liberals, they don't give a shit about these. No, they say all kinds of things, but they don't really give a shit about any of these. I don't. If you're not sworn in as a U.S. citizen, you're subject to deportation at any point for any reason. Yeah, that's basically it. And although you have to be treated, if you get in trouble, you have to be treated according to the law. I'm not sure if the Supreme Court has ever said that they have the freedom of speech and the freedom of this and the freedom of that so that they can go out and terrorize people as they have been for how many years now. All right. I mean, these people, just look at regular illegals that get in the streets and they're blocking traffic and they're trashing vehicles and burning shit and all this other stuff. And I mean, what are we doing here? The Muslims are here. They're using our laws and our Constitution against us. That's why everybody's terrified to go investigate the mosques and, raid them. God knows what we'd find in them.
Oh, I think we know what we would find.
Yeah. Well,
We just don't want to find it. Because then it means maybe we
I think it's part of the.
America failed America.
Well, yeah, I think it's part of the ruining of America, the whole Muslim thing, because there was no reason to bring these animals here. All the whole Middle East does not want the fucking Palestinians in their country because they do nothing but what they're doing now.
Yeah.
This is what they do. That's it. And this whole
Yeah.
thing, they had a couple, was it last weekend or the weekend before, or whatever it was, they had the big protest and shit. And, because they wanted Hamas out. I don't believe them.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe maybe they want Hamas out, but I don't think it's going to change anything. They're going to still hate Jews. They're going to still try to kill Israelis. They're going to do this and that and the other. The kid that was in charge of it, he got tortured for about 4 hours and then thrown on his parents' doorstep dead. So, there you go. And we're all supposed to suddenly feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for these people. This is what they wanted. This is what they say. This is what they say they're going to do. And unfortunately, I'm against all of it, so I don't care what happens to them. I hope they live in misery because they deserve it. Do I think it's every single last one of them? No, there might be 15 or 20 over there that hate every single thing about all this shit.
Yeah.
But most of them were the same ones that were taunting the prisoners as they were taken out of Palestine or whatever you want to call it, Gaza, I guess. And these are the same people that get in the streets and scream, death to America, death to Israel. These are the same people screaming, from the river to the sea. All this bullshit. Okay, these are the same people doing this, and now suddenly they're out in the street. We get rid of Hamas. No, you voted for them. You get rid of them. Fuck you.
You're welcome to join us if you want. If you got your camera and your mic to join us, just let me know and I'll send you the link. So is anybody else.
My guess is probably, Larry, that there's something when you get a visa that says, there's rules. You can't just come here with no rules. The problem is that the rules and the regulations for this shit is ignored. Like when the visa's up, you got to leave.
Yeah, they're supposed to.
I don't believe Christian Muslims either. I don't believe not one damn one of them. I believe Christian Muslims are liars. And in their religion, that puts them with the only 36 virgins because, they didn't really shoot anybody, but, they're still doing pretty good. Right? I don't believe none of that shit. The Muslim religion is a political ideology and a death cult.
Just a second.
Hey, Jimmy Collins, how you doing?
Larry Burns, you are welcome to join us. If anybody else is more than welcome. This may turn out to be a really good one. I really didn't have any plan for today. I just, whatever popped into my head, whatever popped in on the broadcast tonight, they really seem to be the best the best broadcast where I try to let people talk. And
Right. Do you still have that little
good.
eagle? You still have that? You still have that little eagle right there by your desk?
I have two of them.
Okay. Show it.
And
Joe
the
Dell
top
wanted.
feathers.
Joe Dell wanted to see what they look like.
The
So
top feathers on. Well, okay, I have to do things opposite, so I have to move it that. No.
little eagles, yeah. Okay.
That's Cupcake the Eagle.
Cupcake the eagle. Okay.
That's Cupcake the Eagle. I just named him Cupcake because Jerry said cakes.
Yeah.
So, and Donna said if
You got to give him a golden beak
anybody
too.
wanted. What?
Beer.
I have to show you because I know a lot of people are going to like this if they see it. But imagine a beer stein with foamy head. I don't have a price. I don't have a picture of one. I
A
don't
beer
have one in
stein
my
with
hand,
foaming.
but
Okay.
I think those are going to sell very well. I'll get a picture of it as soon as I can and
All
put
right.
those up.
Yeah.
The Eagles are $8 each. We have two, and if anyone is can message me, message me and I'll let you know how to
All right.
get hold of them. They're $8 plus shipping. I don't know what the beer steins are going to be yet.
Yeah, I was talking. I was talking to her on the phone, and
okay.
yeah.
I need to get some pictures of the Eagles, and
Yeah.
I thought Dave was trying to show us. I very rarely will grab Chihuahua and put her up in front of the camera because now at 13 she just doesn't like it anymore. When I first knew we were in Connecticut, I used to put her up next to the laptop, and sometimes she would look. Someone else needs to talk for a moment because I need to disappear for a moment.
All right.
So, Jerry, Chuck.
Yep. Jerry, I can't hear you, Jerry.
I just said it was 8 o'clock because Dave's alarm went off.
All right,
That's
now
all
I
I
can
got,
hear you.
Chuck. It's on you now. Go ahead.
Okay, well, that's fine. I'm outside listening to the church bells going off here.
Why are they going off?
They go off every hour on the hour.
Oh, you still do that? Is it a real bell or is it
Yeah, it's
like
a
a
real bell.
recording? Oh, cool.
I think it's a real bell. Yeah. And then
Cool.
they have a little tune that comes on after. It'll strike the hours.
Was it like Ozzy Osbourne comes on or
Well, I
what?
don't know. I haven't been over to the church. I don't have any.
Oh,
It's
yeah, we probably.
only about a block away from the house here.
Yeah, all right. Well, you're too busy biting off pigeon heads or something. That's the thing.
That or I was going to ask: is it an M land? Is it an M city where the alarm goes off at 5 o'clock because that's sundown, and you're supposed to pull your mat out and do your prayer?
Oh, hell no. No,
That
it ain't
happens.
that kind.
I've read that they've kind of taken over some towns with that, and
Yeah.
There was one the other day. I saw a
that's-
video. The guy goes out into the fucking street, a busy city street, puts his mat down, and then's like holding up a bus.
Oh,
Like, listen, people, if you want to get people on your side, the worst way to do that is to stop them from where they're going. They
yeah.
don't like that.
Right.
See, I don't. I remember back in the day when they stop with the bells, because apparently bells became very expensive and no churches could afford them. And then they would put there was like a speaker or something up there that sounded like bells. And back
I think
then,
that's what I'm hearing now. Yeah.
no, okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm married. I've been in towns where they had church bells, and it was used for a lot of stuff, including like emergencies or they would call people in with them, and also it would go off like
Yeah.
during the day anyway. I don't remember it being
Funerals and weddings and yeah.
and also on the hour, but I don't remember it being at night.
Well, I
I
think
think
they stop at 7 o'clock at night.
yeah,
So
probably.
this is the last time for the day now.
Yeah, it's
7 in the
probably
morning to 7
yeah.
at night.
You're gonna piss off too many people at night with that, but
Right.
the Jews will be up in
I
arms
know
because
in
they
some
have
of
to be
them,
up early Saturday.
I know in some of the mill towns, the mill is gone at 5 o'clock. The air horn still goes off, and they use that air horn during the day to let the volunteer firefighters know that there's a fire, because most of them carry a two-way radio anyway. You turn on your radio
Yeah.
and check
Good
in
idea.
and make sure. Yeah.
That's
Now,
a
in
good idea.
some of the small towns here in Wisconsin, every day at noon they'll set off their tornado siren every day at noon. Just to let everybody know, hey, it's 12 noon. And then they also use the sirens for calling in the volunteer fire departments too. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
actually, that would be cool. Living in a town like that wouldn't see that's old time. I
Yeah.
like old time. Old time was good.
Yep.
A lot
Yeah.
simpler
Yeah.
to live and everything. Still had some bad shit happen. Don't get me wrong, but a lot simpler for most people to live.
Hmm.
And you don't realize you miss that shit until it's gone.
Right.
And I remember when I was a little kid, you would go through town and there'd be real bells, or stuff like you guys were talking about that they're apparently still doing.
Yeah.
That's like cool. They did bell ringing when I was in our
Joe
Orange
Dell's.
Beach too. Oh, okay.
Joe Dell was down in Orange Beach, Alabama last week or the week before or whatever. So
I it's the small towns in both the north and the south that do stuff like that throughout the country. Which would be obviously the east and the west too. But I'm just saying, the small towns are what keep this country going. Because if all we had were the cities, I don't think we'd survive.
oh yeah, we'd be
Because
dog monkeys.
some of these companies, you have stuff in your yard or around your yard, like fence or uh, I don't know, in your house, whatever. They're small town companies. They employ 100, 150 people from the town, and they send this shit out all over the place.
Yeah.
Small towns, it
Where the
really.
hell did he go?
He was getting fuzzy. Did he look fuzzy to you? The picture?
A little bit, yeah. And
Yeah.
my internet's been acting up here too. So
No. Okay. But I'm not sure we'd survive without the small towns.
right. Yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, there's some small towns up here in Wisconsin with some really weird names, and it's like,
Yeah.
they're saying tornado warning for such and such, and you're going, where the hell's that at? But
Oh, we have towns here. There's signs. I think the sign is the town because they don't have any stores, and all the people live in the woods, and you don't want to drive in there because they'll shoot at you.
yeah,
But
especially if you hear banjos, right?
yeah, true story. Like my small town, if you drove through it, it's nothing special. It really ain't. But if you live here, and like even me, I see the same people all the time.
Right.
And some about it is like a good thing. I don't know. Small towns, small businesses, yes, small businesses for sure. Hopefully, we can get that going again. Because like even in the big cities, small businesses are what are the shit.
Right.
And in every town in America, small or big, there's way too many empty buildings.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know.
Yeah, here in Beloit there are so many, and up in Janesville there's a lot of them too, which is
Yeah.
only like 10 miles north of us here. And,
Yeah.
yeah,
Sad.
it's a shame. It is.
Like there's nothing like we have Ace Hardware here, which is It's privately owned, but it's still Ace Hardware. It's a chain. But bring back the old hardware stores, the individual, the old bakeries, the butchers, where you had to go to 4 or 5 stores to get all your groceries, but it was a lot better
Yeah.
than your package. If we got enough of that, we could be putting the Walmarts out of business because and go back to it. The problem is that these people can't compete dollar
Right.
wise.
Right. They
That's
have
the
to keep their
problem.
prices absolutely higher
Yep.
because they can't compete. Yeah,
Yep.
you're right.
Me, I used to love it. I lived in a town that had a bakery. Well, they had 2 or 3. The one I went to, I liked. Hey, Dave. Wow, that looks way better. Okay. Yeah, you were getting fuzzy there for a minute, Dave. Now you don't look well. A little fuzzy there. Oh,
Yeah.
look, your whole bottom of your face disappeared. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, Dave's. Who was that guy in the '80s that just showed up in the middle of a broadcast? Headroom, Max Headroom. That's what he looks like.
Max Headroom. I
Yeah.
wish, I wish I could find Max Headroom and bring him on as a guest. That would be so. That would be a lot of fun. I really do. But,
Because of the
oh,
upcoming election, the carbon tax gas has been removed, which is BS to begin with. We're at 4.76 a gallon down 114. If Carney wins, tack that back on, but times two. I thought that was a good political move for him because he took away the main thing that Pierre Palmolive or whatever the hell his name is was talking about all the time with the axe to tax. Whatever. I don't know. I can't speak French. Hey, where's Nick when you need him?
Yeah.
Anyway, and he can't even say it, so I don't even want to hear it. Thing is that he's a punk. That's what he is. It's sad with that. Uh, you guys we're all being taxed out of existence. The difference is we may get some relief here soon in the United States.
Yeah. It's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
No. But that's
No,
what everybody is expecting. It's all going to happen overnight.
yeah, you go on X and all you hear is, when are we going to see arrests? Well, could you give them more than 5 minutes?
Yeah. I
I
mean, they got
agree.
to.
They all said day one, everybody's going to prison. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Stop saying day one because it was never going to be day one. Now,
Right.
Trump obviously signed a bunch of executive orders literally in like the first hour and a half, which is fine, but look where they're at now. They're all in front of leftist judges who keep getting all these cases, the same judge. Something's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And people are looking into it.
Yeah. And the daughter
But
and the
they're
daughter of the judge is corrupt too. Yeah.
yeah, but they're
Yeah.
stopping everything. Like deport. Well, he didn't stop the big deportations, but the deportation of the guy Dave was talking about a little while ago,
Right.
and they've stopped. USAID from being shut down, and you got to keep paying everybody. Yeah, just keep wasting money. That's what we want. Yeah, it's fucking beautiful. All this bullshit.
Paula Eve. Paula Eve.
Yeah, Palmolive
I'm
will abolish it
all.
completely. Yeah, that's what he says he's going to do, which is nice, and that needs to go into law so the next guy can't bring it back.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Has
Larry,
he says Castro's husband has he died yet? Because that man, I bet he's happy to be able to take that Karen wig off.
What about the Pope? We haven't heard anything about him. He's back in his cathedral or wherever the hell he's at, the Vatican.
Yeah, he's back in his big
I thought
chair with the
I
hat.
thought it was his turn to you know unearth himself. I don't know.
How can he be that bad off, right? I think he died once. They brought him back or something to being back at the
yeah,
Vatican.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think he's going to be taking any trips or anything. But how does that work? Because something is very weird about all that in my
I
head.
I think he's already unearthed,
He-
but
Yeah,
Could
working
be.
on half a lung because half his lung was removed when he was a child, or one lung was removed when he was a child.
I didn't even know that. All right.
Yeah,
But
I
when
didn't
we
either
put it
until
past the
I
Catholic
read it.
Church to find out he was dead, but they didn't tell us. I mean, come on.
You know what? No, because they probably wouldn't. Because in Who's Under the Mask this time on, as we always said with Joe Biden, I would imagine that they have a body double that's ready to and standing there that just won't talk. He'll open the window in St. Peter's Square every day and do the Queen wave, and they'll
Oh,
put him in
hey,
the Pope mobile and they'll drive him around and he'll throw candy at the
if you
kids.
remember back in the
You know,
70s, they had that Pope, and he had a doppelganger, man. But this guy was like an actor, and in every single part was he played the Pope. He was on Saturday Night Live once playing the Pope. I mean, I don't know if
yeah,
but he looked exactly like him.
yeah,
So I don't
yeah,
know about all that. I
yeah,
just don't. I think the Catholic Church would have no problem lying to everybody, saying that if he's dead, telling them that he's fine, no problem. And when you're that old, you don't expect him to be like Dave said, hanging out, waving at people or going on trips and shit. So they could say anything. Look what they said about Joe Biden, and we were watching Joe Biden.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I always wondered, but I guess Benedict died a long
I think
time
that was
ago.
the one. Yeah.
I I I always wondered what would have happened if Benedict stepped down because of his health and Francis died because of his health. If they would have brought Benedict back, if he was able to do the job, because I mean, I was amazed to learn that I guess you can actually step down
Oh,
from being the Pope while you're
yeah.
alive. Because I thought that
Does
was a no-no.
anybody
I thought
know?
you
Does
died.
anybody know that he's still alive? Even because I haven't heard word boo out of him since he quit.
I don't. Well, let me
on
look it up
who?
pretty
I
quick because
missed
I
it.
think
The Benedict,
Benedict.
the one
I
who
think it
quit
does.
to get this
Oh
idiot in, or was
Yeah,
forced to resign. One, I don't know,
no,
because something
no,
seemed weird there too. It was like 700 or 900
yeah,
years or something since any pope had abdicated his
uh,
godliness or whatever the hell it is, and
mm,
all of a sudden this guy does it. That's weird. Sorry.
yeah. Well, according to Google, he died December 31st, 2022.
Hmm.
So, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. According to Google, Elvis died, and they believe he's alive and well and leading a church somewhere on
Well, I've
Earth.
heard he was a convenience store
And
clerk in Peoria, so that's probably true.
yeah,
hey,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's only 3 hours away from here.
yeah. Check that out, will you, Chuck, please? And,
yeah.
continue.
Supposedly, people have caught Priscilla saying things that she shouldn't have said. That supposedly he, Pastor Bob, is in fact Elvis. But I
Well,
still haven't wrapped my head around the idea that your life can become so bad you have to stage your death.
I
Well,
actually believe he's dead, but then that's just me.
well, there's
Uh,
this saying
Yeah,
going on out there. Those that you think are alive are dead, and those that you think are dead are alive.
it's
yeah.
It,
possible. Anything is
People are still
possible in this day
anything's
yeah,
and age
possible.
because we're living in clown world or
Yep,
bizarro world or something. I don't know, but whatever
yeah,
it is,
shit show.
and it's just like we were
yeah,
talking about the other night, where you read about some guy, yeah, he died 7 years ago. It's like, wait a minute, that guy's been dead 2 years, or the guy, they tell you 2 years, and the guy's been dead 7 years. Something is
yeah.
wrong here.
Yeah.
Let's see, where's Nick out catching a goose to check the slickness of the doorknob? Probably. I'm pretty sure that's a hobby
Well,
for him. I don't know. Tell him I said that. He likes it when I do that. When he's not here.
well, I sent the link to Nick, and then I dropped the link in the AbRab group chat.
Yeah, you keep asking Larry, and he
So-
keeps ignoring you. That's his way of saying no. Just so you know. I learned that a
that's
long
okay.
time ago. Nick
That's
does the
okay.
same damn thing. You
Yeah.
see his
That's
little
okay. That's
icon
okay.
come
I
up
just
on
went-
you want to do one tonight, and then 7 hours later, there's no answer. He said, "Okay, I get it."
Well, he told me to just send him the link anyway, and if he can, he will, and if he can't, he won't. And I've just left it that way, because on the nights that I don't do that, then I'm all of a sudden, seeing him, and I forget that I didn't send him a link. But I don't care. Anybody who wants to come on is more than welcome to come on. Anybody that doesn't want to come on doesn't have to come on, and we'll go till, like I said, somewhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, or when my two
Whenever you get kicked out of
partners
bed.
on the panel tonight say,
Well, we
we
see
gotta
Dave's
go.
wife come up
know.
behind him with a huge paddle, ready to spank his ass. If he don't get off in 2 seconds, we know it's time to go.
No, she doesn't do that. She yells at me afterwards that I said I was going to be done at like 8 o'clock, and it's now 10 o'clock in the morning the next day, and I'm still on.
That's what it feels like
You know.
sometimes.
I have to compliment my wife, because she puts up with me doing all of these, because if I woke up in the middle of the night and I had a separate room that was a studio and I knew wouldn't bother my wife, I've said that's where I'd go, because on the nights that I wake up at midnight and I can't fall back asleep, I just go in and do a couple hours until I couldn't stay awake anymore, because we all know I'm a professional for falling asleep with live broadcasts.
Oh, there you go.
go.
I fell
Yeah.
asleep on a live once for a few minutes. I was just very tired, and it was boring, and I just kept nodding out, and finally it was just like, I think somebody yelled or something, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
how you doing?
It's
Last night I got a messenger message from Michael Anthony. He said, "Wake up, dude." I must have nodded or something. He caught it. Nobody else did. Thank goodness.
there were a few moments last night where I, don't mean this disrespectfully at all. It just looked like Jerry was going to fall, was ready to go to bed, and it was right around 8:30 where I always, when we're on, say it looks like you got to go, Jerry. It's 8:30, and I've always used that as an excuse to close a broadcast rather than just saying what I'm to do, because I don't, I never know. I never know.
I was I was tired last night. I had spent all day working on the truck, so my back was killing me too. So from leaning over, but in the end, I don't know. I think still stayed on till like 10 o'clock or something. I don't remember.
Yeah. Are we making any progress with the truck? I won't bug Jen.
Well, I will know by
manual
tomorrow if
crowd
anything
there.
after the third time I fixed it, and I know I fixed this truck same goddamn shit 3 times.
Yeah.
So I'll know tomorrow if the third time was a charm.
Yeah.
And then I got to take the upper intake off again and put. They got this piece of foam rubber under there to do something. I don't know. I got to put that back on, so I'm sure that'll screw something up. But in the end, I'm hopeful, because I'm getting a little tired of having to walk down the neighbor's house and borrow his truck, because I don't like borrowing other people's shit, especially their vehicle. Because it's a high end thing, and even if it ain't your fault, you feel like you're gonna feel like shit if it gets hit or whatever. And so I don't know, but whatever. I had to borrow it today to go buy smokes and I don't know, something else. And I just don't like doing it. I don't.
Yeah.
But you gotta do what you gotta do. So
it would be my luck if I was mechanically inclined that I would finally get a vehicle of mine that wasn't back running, and then I'd look at my bank statement and all of a sudden there's that $1 million check that was the
Yeah.
Doge April Fool's joke, but it would be my reality that that check would drop, and so I wouldn't know whether or not to be happy
Well,
I
look at it
finally
this
fixed
way.
my truck or uh,
Look at it this way, Dave. If it's running, it's worth more as a
yeah,
trade-in. you know.
this is
So,
very true. This is
or
very true.
you keep it and and then like buy a new one. That way you got two, like a backup.
Yep,
Nice.
yep, yep,
That's true.
yep.
Out when you live out like where I live, it's like it's 10 miles to town, but it's like 12, 13 miles to like the Walmart and where all the stuff is. And you really need two vehicles because if you get stuck out here, there ain't no sidewalks to ride, no bicycles. My John Deere lawnmowers are way too old to ride them down the side of the road. And you're stuck shopping at the corner store 4 miles away, and that's going to get right expensive. And they don't have
Yep,
a lot of shit. It's like, it is what it
yep,
is. So,
yep,
um, in the end, you really need two. And I ain't got to, I tried the other day, I did, but
yeah,
there's nothing in my price range that's worth buying. And I ain't going to spend most of my time trying to fix.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. And people do that. And one of my favorite clients had finally gotten to the point in his job where he could buy himself a nice BMW, and he did. But then he used to drive that nice BMW down to the train station every morning in Waltham. And one day it got keyed or something like that, and he just said, "I'm not going to do it anymore." He went out and bought a, for lack of putting it better, ghetto BMW, and drove that down. Started driving that down, and never had a problem with it. No one ever
Right.
attacked it because
Well,
for
first of all, people who pull that shit, I don't care who they are, they belong in jail. I always found that very cowardly to attack somebody's car or
yeah,
vehicle. Um, they're not there to defend it or anything. You're just out like a cockroach in the night doing shit like that. I've always
yeah,
found that cowardly. I've never done it
yeah,
to nobody. I ain't gonna never do it to nobody.
right,
And all I ask is the same courtesy.
yeah,
That's
and
hard to get these days.
right. And like I
Right.
said last night, I hope this guy that got arrested for uh, attacking the BMW, that disabled girl,
Yeah.
I hope. Well, partly because she's disabled, but mainly, it was someone else's car. But go after someone else's car if that's what you're going to do. But don't go after a disabled person's car. I mean, their life
Well,
is
it's
their
like that
life is hard.
video.
Their life
Yeah.
is hard enough.
Yeah, it's like
That
that video I showed last night with the mother and the two daughters. You could tell that the daughter was raised by the mother. She's flipping off the fucking camera.
yeah,
How old was that kid? 12? Okay.
Yeah.
And then the mother's over there keying something into the car. And, I don't know what's going to happen to them kids, but when that woman gets caught, and I guarantee you, the internet is going to catch her. Going to catch her. The internet is good at catching people, I've
yep,
noticed.
yep,
And they've caught quite a few of these people doing this. And that woman's probably going to go to jail, and she's going to cry about her children and everything else. But you know what? You had your children with you, then you made that doing that okay to them.
yep.
Yeah. So then that's being delinquent to the kid.
These people are stupid because everybody is saying a Tesla comes standard with all of these cameras.
Yeah,
Sooner or later, that camera or one of those cameras is going to give enough to someone who knows how to work
yeah,
the tape or whatever they get from that camera
yeah,
and figure out who you are and come and bust you.
yeah. Well, a lot of those, they work on the internet, obviously, and the car gets internet wherever it goes. Unless
Yep.
it's in a dead zone or something. But and then the video can go to the cloud. All right. And so even if they break the cameras or whatever, Whatever the camera picked up is in the cloud now, and
Right.
it's too late.
Yeah.
You know, um, and like that, and these idiots are running through there with, you know, full face, walking right past them, and thinking they're fighting the good fight for some reason. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yep. And the internet doesn't forget. I mean,
Yeah,
you
doesn't.
you can do something stupid today, and nobody may play it again tomorrow to embarrass you or even think that they're showing support for you tomorrow. But all of a sudden, 20 years later, when you sit down for that job to be CEO of Boogie with the Bull, I'm going to look and go, didn't you key scratch a Tesla?
Yeah. Well, I
20
saw one
years ago?
today. I saw one today. This kid was fishing in down here in Florida somewhere, in in a bay, and some charter captain. Um, I don't know what happened. There were two kids in two different boats, and I guess one, the guy, you're not supposed to, do 110 mile an hour or knots or whatever under a bridge. You're supposed to slow down, okay? Because you can swamp somebody. There's sometimes people fishing under there in small boats. Anyway, the one kid cursed him out, and this guy apparently saw the other kid, pulled up on him, jumped onto this kid's boat, and started screaming at the kid, cursing at him, threatening his life, all this bullshit. And they already know his name, what boat he's has, and this guy is going to end up losing his freaking job. And this moron did this with a boat full of people on his boat. And I don't know why one of them didn't come over and say, "Hey, we ain't doing this," but they didn't, as
Yeah.
usual. You know, I got to tell you something. When you guys see this shit, all right, do something. Don't sit there like a lump. We're supposed to be men. Stand up. Now, I'm sure that the kid was a smartass. God knows I was, and probably said some stupid ass, called him, the F word for gay people and all that. And the guy, I guess maybe they didn't catch enough fish that day. I don't know. All I know is that he was apocalyptic and having a temper tantrum, and you can't. I have stood down kids before. I have, and some of them way younger than this kid was. This kid was probably 17, 16 years old. All right, because they were trying to rob me, and I took their little leader and said, "Well, here's what's going to happen. If you try this, I'm going to hurt you, and I'm going to hurt you badly." And he thought I meant it and I said, "You better tell this asshole coming up behind me to stop," because he didn't know I saw him. And they did. And then they walked off. But that's protecting yourself. That's not throwing a temper tantrum at a kid. And I know it's hard to walk away from some of these kids because they need an ass beating. Zero doubt they need an ass beating.
Yeah.
And I mean a good one, like their daddy should have, if they have one. But you can't do shit. You can't, first of all, on the legalities of boarding someone's boat, you can get shot. If somebody pull that shit on a boat I owned, I'm pretty sure the old 38 would have came out.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and that wouldn't have ended well. And these weren't like big boats or nothing, but it's just it. But the weird thing, you looked in the comments because I wanted to see what the comments were. And yeah, they knew his name. They knew he was a low life in regular life, DUIs, assault, you name it. And so he's going to lose his job. And what's worse is he may lose his captain's license, which is, in his case, his livelihood.
Yep.
And getting
Yep.
a captain's license,
Yep.
even for a charter, is a big fucking deal. I knew a guy who had a
Yep.
captain's license. He drove a dinner cruise ship through the intercoastal down in Miami. Big deal. He also could captain a barge, and he could
It is.
captain any ship up to a certain
Yep.
size, 100 miles out to sea. Right. This is a big deal because it's a shitload of responsibility.
Yep.
And what kind of
Yep.
responsibility if you're going after some kid with people aboard your boat, and the kid didn't take off for some reason, and I guess they floated away from each other, and the guy didn't drop an anchor or nothing. He just let his passengers go.
Adrift.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it obviously wasn't that far because he didn't take the kid long to get him back because he told him, "Take me back," and the kid was so scared. He go, "Okay." Me, I'd have got up some speed and then just cut the power and seen if he, flip him off the front and then take off and hit him with anything on the back of the boat that turns, and give him a haircut. It'd be nice. That's what I'd have done.
Yeah.
Seemed he just wanted to fight. I don't know, but he wouldn't let up. The kid apologized. Yeah, he did apologize like 12 times. Said he was a kid, and it wasn't him. It was his friend who said it. Um, but this guy wasn't having none of it. Jane saw it.
Yep.
I'm glad. We don't need people like that. That's insane. Even the rednecks have
Yep.
calmed down. You used to go into their waters or their areas, and there'd be 7 of them with shotguns on the bank or in boats, wondering what the hell you were doing there. Even they've calmed down. They don't really do that much
Yep.
anymore.
As
Although,
long as you don't hear banjos when something like that happens, you're okay.
yeah, well,
Oh God.
and we're talking about from like the 80s, because when I was a land surveyor, we'd go onto properties where we couldn't get in touch with anybody to let them know they were there, and then all of a sudden, like 3 or 4 guys come out of the frickin' woods with shotguns, wondering what the hell we were doing. And there's only one reason back then they were doing that, and that's because somewhere on that property they were growing pot.
Yeah.
Yep. The town I
Yep.
live in, back in the 80s, the police chief and 400 other people from the surrounding area went to prison for being a major. Well, the police chief went to prison because they were stealing the pot out of the evidence room and selling it, and the people around, they were for growing it. And they still send the choppers out
I
looking
have
over the fields for pot. You can tell.
I have never understood that. I mean, either it is so incredibly easy to do it because everybody is involved in it, or it is just so incredibly easy to do because you're the chief of
Well,
police and you can go into the evidence room by yourself in the middle of the night when no one else is there because the rookie dispatcher is afraid of losing their job if they don't do exactly what the
you
police
have
chief
to
wants
remember
them
something.
to 24/7.
Down here, back then, this town was small, half the size it is now. And the police chief was probably, and obviously, I saw him in jail. I happened to see him because I was there too for a DUI. But anyway, yes, Chuck.
Dave, you're right. It's easy. Look what our government's been doing for the last how many decades. It's
Yeah.
easy. They did it
No,
right
it
in
is.
front of the American people, and they
Well,
haven't.
here's the
Yeah.
Well,
deal.
they've gotten caught, but
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day,
Well,
though, the police chief was an exceedingly powerful person in any small town.
or the
yeah.
sheriff too. In the
Them
county.
old 70s movies with the big fat police chief with the sun mirrored shades and all that bullshit. That was true.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
that was true. Even Jackie Gleason and Smokey with the Bandit. That shit
Yeah.
was true. They made it funny, obviously,
Yeah.
but the shit he did, what he was doing, even in that movie, was or what was it, Convoy, where the sheriff, I think it was Jackie Gleason or somebody, I don't know, but he
Yeah. It was.
wanted to
No.
he wanted to
Walking Walking Tall was one of my favorite movies, the original
Yeah.
one.
Well, there were some like that, but let's see what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In the end, they killed him because he was getting in the way of their money. But
Mm-hmm.
back in the day, the police chief was all about, he was in everybody's money. They were
Oh
paying
yeah.
him.
Yep.
So that, and
Yeah.
so stealing shit out of the evidence room was not a anything actually.
Yeah.
And also, if the police chief was in on it, half the police in the police department, and in this town there maybe there's 10 or 15 or whatever, half of them at least were in it with him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how they get away with it.
Yeah. And I
You
mean,
know,
then it's always been weird. You got great guys like Sheriff Grady here in Polk County, Florida.
yeah. Well, but
And
you're
then,
seeing you're seeing the Grady on the videos that everybody finds funny, and he's very tough sounding. There are other people that think Grady is a fucking scumbag down here.
really?
Oh yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't
oh
know
yeah,
that.
yeah. But then there's people that you can't believe the hype on everybody. All
Okay.
right, and some of the enemies that the police make are obviously they're worse, way worse than the police. But his cops go around breaking your constitutional rights just like all the rest of them do by fucking what you on the side of the road over stupid shit, and then the rest of it. They're no different. You want a good police chief. A good police chief is not seen in his office or on YouTube. The good police chief or the good sheriff is seen out on the street by you seeing his deputies and how they act, or his officers and how they act with the public. Okay? Because
Yeah.
he has a handle on what they're doing. All right?
Yeah.
And if they walk up to you and get pissy and decide to, do that whole we're going to search your car bullshit, okay, and then does it without your permission, and then they bring the dog out and the dog gets a fake because they train the dog to, when they point at something to sniff it, and then they'll come back and tell you, well, he got a hit on something. They'll search your car. That's highly illegal. As a matter of fact, they can't
Yeah.
just pull you over. There has to be a fucking crime that they have witnessed, that they have seen,
Yeah.
like speeding or something, that they can pull you over for. They cannot just pull you over and ask you for your fucking driver's license because they want to know
Right.
who you are.
Probable cause.
That's exactly right. And that's why so many of them are getting sued now. And that's why you got so
Yeah.
many of these idiots on YouTube and shit that are auditors. And
I
the
can't even
problem with
watch
them is
them
that
for
they,
more than
it'd be one thing if they were out there and they were filming and keeping their mouth shut, but they
yeah.
are actually trying to egg the cop on into
Oh yeah,
doing
they're
more.
provoking it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
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 So
They're
if the cop
provoking it.
has a lot of
Yeah.
shit going on in one spot and you're in there and he tells you to move and you don't move far enough away, or you start telling these cops are idiots. They don't know the law. They know ordinances and shit like that. That's all they know. Okay. And,
Yeah.
he's going to fuck with you. And then the guy's going to get in trouble, which is going to make the rest of the police department pissed off at you. And then you have a channel because you're constantly going to have conflict.
Right.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
But I can't stand him.
Yeah.
If
I
they
can't
would
watch.
just shut up and do as they're told when they are told, all right. But a lot of these cops will say things like, "You can't film me." Yes, we absolutely can film every inch of you while you're wearing that uniform and working. As a matter of fact, we can film you going to Chuck E. Cheese if we want, simply because you are in public and you have nothing to say about it. But then
That's
there
right.
are judges will give that cop a restraining order against you. And here's what people don't get: they break your constitutional rights from the minute they they'll walk up to you, want a license registration. You ask them what you did, they'll say, well, I'll tell you when I get the license registration.
Nope.
Yeah.
No, no,
No.
no, 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 no. That's not how it
No.
works. No.
Right.
And also, if you know you were speeding, or you improper lane change, you did it, just shut the fuck up. Take your
Well,
I,
medicine.
I got
Everybody's had to do it. Just
I,
shut the
I,
fuck up and take your medicine.
I've had more experiences with police officers, even if I'm a little bit nervous, just trying to politely and rationally go, was I speeding? No. Did you clock me? Or even if you didn't clock me, did I make that turn wrong? And then listen to them explain it to me. And 9 out of 10 times, they say, just don't do it again, Dave.
Well,
yeah, I got nailed up in Chattanooga.
And they send you on
yeah,
your way.
I
you're
got
right.
nailed up in Chattanooga coming off of the Lookout Mountain. Speed limit dropped way down, and I saw him
Oh
sit,
yeah, that crazy shit. Yeah.
and he finally got me because there's a lot of traffic, and I pulled into a parking lot. And the first thing I asked him is, I said, "Well, what did you get me at?" Because I knew I was,
Yep.
he just gave me a warning.
Yep.
He knew I was from out of town and
I
not
had a
from
state
New
trooper, same thing. I wasn't paying attention, and the roads were all redone,
Yep.
and I wasn't quite used to them. So all the speed limits had changed because they got civilized there, and
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention. And he comes up, you know how fast you were
Yep.
going? And I slicked at him and said, I have no idea. I wasn't paying attention, and I was doing 55, which is what the speed limit used to be. That probably helped.
Yep.
If I'd have been doing 70, then I probably would have got a
They,
ticket. But
Yeah.
I was cool to the guy.
Yeah.
And
they,
just like Dave said, you gave me a warning, and I went about my way.
yeah.
But then I knew
My,
he got me. As soon as I saw the lights, I said, "Oh
right.
shit! Well, I wasn't paying
My,
attention."
so my hardcore police officer friends will tell me, don't say, if they ask you, do you know how fast you were going? Do not say a number
No, I
at
know
all.
because that's
Whether
what'll be
you
on the
think
ticket.
you, whether or not, yeah, if you say you were speeding, that's what they're going to write the ticket on. If you were doing 1 mile over the speed limit, it doesn't matter. They're going to write that ticket for the 10 miles over that you say you were going. That's revenue. That's revenue enhancement. That's how it
Well, when you
goes.
look at the cops, they're basically, for the most part, tax collectors. That is a tax.
Okay.
They call it a fine because
Yep.
they can't call it a tax.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
their job, to go out and get as many tickets as they can. And that whole thing. This is the thing about every 20 years about the quotas and all this other bullshit.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. Okay, that's what they do.
Yep.
But then you go to court and you try to fight a ticket where they got you with the radar gun, and the radar gun must be the most best piece of electronic equipment that has ever been or ever will be, because the cop gets up there, says, I know everything about it, but nobody ever asks the right questions. Like, when's the last time the company took it? How old is this, and what date was it bought? Cop never knows that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
How many times
Right.
has it been dropped? How many times has it been picked up? How many times has it been slammed down, fell
Yep.
off the seat, flying off the seat because you slammed on brakes or something? How often has that happened? And you're telling
How
me that your
Yep.
shit is calibrated and mine isn't?
Right.
How old is that? Because calibration on an old machine
when I worked in the police
doesn't
reserves
last.
up here, I worked in the police reserves up here in Beloit back in the '80s, and they calibrated there with a tuning fork, the radar gun, every shift, just to make sure that it was calibrated.
Yeah, but on old
Yep.
machines,
Right.
it doesn't last.
Yeah.
Vibrations from the
Right.
car or falling or what onto the
That's right.
floor of the car or something is going to
Yeah.
knock that calibration off.
Yep.
But if you're doing 75 and a 65, 9 times out of 10, it didn't. It's not off that much. But there are cops out there that will give you a
Right.
ticket for 1 mile over the speed limit or less
Right.
because they're
Yep.
assholes. That's what they do. That's just what they do. and they treat you like garbage on the side of the street. That pisses you off, but not enough people fight it. They just pay the fine and stay pissed off about it and never forget it, but they just pay the fine and that's the end of it. But then, there's other things to pay too, like higher insurance premiums and, you got points on your license and none of it's good.
I had just bought a used cruiser from the state police in Massachusetts. Took it down to have it repainted because it was coming out as a cab. And I had the security company badge hanging on the driver's visor. And I was doing 110 in a 65-mile zone, only because it was 3:00 in the morning. Nobody was on that section of highway, and I knew that the car was a former cruiser, and I just wanted to see how fast I could get it going. When the officer pulled me over, he was more scared that I was rank with the state police because it was a gold badge that looked like a Mass State Police gold shield, which usually rank has. So we kept talking and we kept talking and we kept talking, and he started saying to me, "Do you know this person?" And I actually did. And I said, "Do you know this person?" And he actually did. And finally he just said, "I know you're a higher rank than me, and I'm going to let you go because most likely I'll get into trouble for writing you the ticket." I put my hand out and I said, I showed him the badge. I said, "It's a security company badge. The guy who designed the badge made it look like a state police badge. I'm not a state police officer. I was doing something very stupid." I said, "Just bought the car. I knew its history. I wanted to see if it could do its history." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I wanted to see if I could get 110 miles an hour out of it on a safe section of highway that no one was on at 3:00 in the morning." And it was stupid. And he said, "Yes, it was, but I had fun with you." I said, "I had a lot of fun talking with you." He said, "Get out of here. Just don't do it again."
Yeah, see, if you not, a lot of cops don't want to die. So if you're cool to them, like me, I open all the windows when I get pulled over. My
Yeah.
hands are on the steering wheel or hanging out the door, depending on if it's day or night. And I've been pulled over 2 or 3 times since I got sober where I didn't get nothing happen. As a matter of fact, the one lady cop pulled me over in Chiefland. It was like Christmas night or Christmas Eve or something. I don't remember. And because I didn't come to a complete stop. So anyway, she pulls me over, and my daughter's in the back seat giggling. So I asked if I could borrow her gun, and she thought that was funny. But yeah, I'm not. There you go.
Oh yeah, the beer mug or beer stein. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the beer stein. $575,000 in each in your brain in your type of beer. Now, Donna's been talking about wanting to make them all week for the craft show that we are both doing on Saturday, and I think they will sell really. I think they will sell really good. She doesn't have a price
She's
yet.
got another one.
18.
What?
18.
$18 does not include shipping. And if anybody sees this and you're really interested, let me know and I'll get the information to you. All the credit cards are available through Square and Apple Pay and Cash App. Yeah. And I don't make a penny of the
No commission.
You do
No
live.
commission.
You do get to live. You do get to live.
I do get to
There you go.
get to live. I do get to use my bedroom as a studio or our bedroom as a studio. A lot of times when my wife would like to be in bed sleeping or doing something else in here, So yes, there are, but I'm not showing you anybody these things to make money for the broadcast. As I have said in the 6 years that I do this, the only expense I have really is the cost of live stream service, and I broke down and bought a new laptop. Other than that, and I don't do this for money. I don't want to be rich. I want to get people on. I want to get people talking. I love it when we do these broadcasts. I always say I love it when we don't overdose on politics one night and we just kind of, I'll kick something in here and something in there. And people in the live chat do the same thing. So I appreciate everyone being here. I think Michael's going to try to nope. No, it wasn't Michael.
Holy shit, who's that? Hey, Nikki.
I sent you. No, you're shaking your head. I sent you an individual link, and I told you that the AMRAB co-host group was going to get the link, and they did. And your mic is turned off.
I know very well that
there
you
go.
did, but my mom and I have been battling with the VA.gov website.
Oh, that's a fun place, ain't it? Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
more important than
45 minutes to sign in the other day because I had to change everything because I got this new high security freaking sign in. I mean, I'm like, really?
I kept getting this IBM server access denial every time we tried.
Yep.
So I figured out what that was.
Oh, what was it?
You have to clear your cache in your web browser.
Perfect. Okay. Well, how was anybody supposed to get that from that?
Right.
Yeah.
They couldn't have wrote something on there because, like, the third time, you're bound to read every word on the
it
page.
Just says IBM, and you get this error code, and you get this string, and so now I know what system they're using. It's IBM mainframe system, which I know exactly
that only because
how to work
you have
that.
experience. Right. But you have experience, and you'd get very mad if Jerry tried to get a hold of you at 3:00 in the morning to explain to him how to do
He
it.
won't wake
So
me
why
up,
doesn't the
'cause
government?
I'm dead asleep.
But I mean, why doesn't the government or whoever it is make it easier?
Because it's the government, Dave. You have to be, in either a government employee or a military to understand just how stupid the government is. I one time spent about 3 hours painting leaves green because they had white specks of paint on them from painting the curbs white. Okay, that's until somebody came by and looked at me like I was insane. But that kind of stupid shit is exactly what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But like I said at the beginning, if they made it easy, if they didn't get mad at Elon Musk and Doge and anybody else and realize they have $30 trillion more in Social Security than because they're going to claw it all back, and everybody's $1,500 is going to go up to $3,000, and it's going to be easier to operate now, we'd all be effing happier than we were the night before, as opposed to scaring us by, you got to know this, you got to know that. I get so damn confused in all of this stuff that I don't.
Yeah.
It just mind boggles me.
But they go through this big long verify who you are process. So we got down to the taking photos of the front and back of my dad's ID. It didn't like them.
No, it didn't.
You got a glare on it. You got this
Yeah.
on it. It's got this.
And you look at the picture,
Yeah.
you can see every word and the
It's
picture of the person.
perfect.
It's perfect. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it
Right.
except they don't
And
like it.
Yep.
Right. And Facebook has done that to me
Yeah.
a few times. That just probably to piss me off. But this is stupid. Your father served his country to the best of his ability. Jerry served his country to the best of his ability. And to make these people have to.
Yeah.
Jerry probably yelled so loud your father heard it the last time. Your father, if he was even involved in the process, probably yelled at both of you and your mother so loud that Jerry probably heard.
My mom
don't
and
get
I
it.
were sitting here on this computer that you're watching me on, my laptop, and going through this shit, and
Yep.
nothing was working. And then it's got a timeout procedure,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and they'll time you out, so you got to
You can't take a
relog
break
in.
Yeah.
for like 10 minutes. You come
It-
back and they'll have an
well,
unhappy face saying you're screwed.
10 minutes is the timeout.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but all that whole 10 minutes, you're taking pictures, nonstop taking these pictures,
That,
and then
yeah.
they don't like any of them, and it times out, and then you got to start the whole
Right.
fucking process again.
Yeah, because just going back
Right.
to the last page before the pictures would be asking too much.
Yes.
Listen,
Right.
we're bitching about
And if
this,
you
but then when Obamacare came out, the entire website crashed and didn't work at all.
Yeah.
Okay, biggest thing the
right.
government's ever done, and this shit didn't work. Okay, this is why I kept putting it
And
off and putting it off and putting it off. I knew it was going to be a pain in the ass. I couldn't see anything wrong with the way it was before, to be frank. With you, but in the end, yeah, that's I took I think I got 7 or 8 pictures of the front and back of my driver's license on this computer now, just because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't like any
and
of it.
Hey,
no, and I've had that happen. You got 10 minutes to do it, and for the whole 10 minutes I'm trying to do it, and then the final thing is it times out, but it times out worse. Come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I want to do it right now while I understand what I'm doing.
And then it forms these little corner icons to square off the
Yeah,
photo, and you get like 3 seconds to do it.
yeah,
Well, my mom is not exactly the best photo taker in the world, so I'm trying to direct her, and she did this shit like 9 times,
yeah, easy.
and it never worked.
Nope.
They just didn't accept it. They didn't want it. And then I have the light on in here, and then I turn the light off, and then they said, it still ain't good. I was like, well,
Yeah,
what kind of lighting do they want?
I don't know. I put on different lights and that thing where taking the picture and everything. I took it from different angles. And then one time when I pushed whatever it is at the bottom, I had them both in there. I pushed OK or whatever it was,
Yeah,
proceed or something.
send or
Yeah,
accept or whatever.
and it was longer. It took longer than it did the last 2 or 3 time, whatever it was, where they said, "Yeah, no Sparky." Okay, and I was like, "Oh, I think it's going through." And then the no Sparky thing came up again. It's like, you're starting to piss me off.
And it timed out during that time, and you got to start all over
And
again.
if you ask it to go back a page or you try to make it go back a page because it tells you something is wrong and you try to go back a page, you mess it up even then.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. It's the freaking government. They don't know what the hell they're doing, and they use these people to do this shit because they know him. And let's give him the contract, and he don't know what he's doing,
Yeah.
but that's cool. We're good.
They don't
You
want
know,
you to apply. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
right.
And
Yeah.
And that Jodelle had a question earlier in the chat. She was kind of wondering where you were, and she was thinking that maybe you were out chasing a goose, trying to see if the shit was slick on the doorknob.
Yeah.
That's why she left that comment here just a minute ago about, well, he must have found the goose.
Yeah, I don't know who figured that out, but that's what, shit my dad says. Putting goose shit on the doorknob. I guess he might have figured that. I don't know how a goose shits on a doorknob, but anyway.
Well, you never know what he might have been trying to do to the doorknob is the problem.
well, yeah, there's
That's the
that.
problem. But anyway, Dave, I got to go.
All right,
And
Jerry.
it's 9 o'clock anyway, so.
It is 9 o'clock.
But
Oh, it's
thank
only
you.
8 o'clock.
No,
Well, it's 8 o'clock where you are.
in the civilized world, it's 9 o'clock, Dave.
8 o'clock.
No, in the central world, it's 8 o'clock.
No, that's why I said civilized, not central.
Right.
I would never
But
say
in-
central. You confused the
But
two.
in that civilized world,
With
you have to go
with
up a
your
bridge
goose on
that
the
goes like
doorknob and
this
shit.
and down a bridge that goes down like that. And that makes
Yeah.
me think of
But if you travel north, Jerry,
Yeah.
in your time zone, it becomes quite uncivilized.
I know.
That's true.
I haven't been north in a long, long time, and I'm
It's in New
relatively,
York and all
yeah, I'm
those
relatively happy
real
about all that. I
civilized
gotta be truthful.
places.
that's the last
Especially
thing
having to go around Atlanta, because there's no way to get to up north without
before you
going
go.
around Atlanta, not unless you're gonna like
And,
take a way out of the
and that
way.
place is
Detour.
totally
Before you
uncivilized.
go,
Yeah,
Jerry,
Silly.
I got one last question for you. Eric Adams is leaving the Democrat Party.
Oh God.
I got to start things down, or at least that's what I read today. What do you think?
I think he'll be a Democrat in the Republican Party, frankly. He's trying to
Okay.
convince everybody that it was lawfare, and it may have been because he was not exactly on the illegal alien gravy train there where he enjoyed it, and he was complaining a lot. I don't know, but it's like Fetterman. You know, Fetterman goes to everybody, oh, join the Republican Party, welcome. Why? He's still going to vote against Republican shit. He's going to be like, what's his name? McCain
Rhino.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
guy from Utah when he was in. You know, it's
Romney. Yeah,
actually
Romney.
still in. He's getting out this time, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna. Why do you want? We don't want any more rhinos. But that's my
No.
thing. You know, whatever.
Okay.
But
All right.
a guy who promised to make New York City safer has not done so.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And
Yep.
a lot of people Nick, ask Nick about what Dan Bongino said about him. So
What did Dan Bongino say about you, Nick?
anyway, I'm gonna go. Take care, guys.
Okay.
Nick,
So
we'll see
Dan
you guys
Bongino
tomorrow night.
said,
All you, everybody in the chat, thank you, and we'll
Thank
see
you,
everybody
Jerry.
tomorrow.
Yep.
Bye, Jerry.
Tomorrow night,
Jerry.
7 o'clock. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on the American Rebellion blogger page here on Facebook. Do not miss the American Rebellion with the man in the upper left-hand corner or right-hand corner, the man in the upper right-hand corner or left-hand corner, depending on how you're looking at it. The guy in the bottom on no corner, and Jerry. And Jen Woodruff often joins us. Robert Lawless, the Minnesota Madman, is in. Larry Burns sometimes comes. Ichabod Palmer is always welcome. All you guys that didn't pop in tonight. But you were saying something about Dan Bongino, and the only reason I brought him up was because I caught the video of him after his last show. I have to go back and find the video and watch his last show. But, I mean, he was almost in tears 2 or 3 times in the after video, thanking people and apologizing to people as they were walking out. What do you think? What do you have to say? Because I know you watched him every day, and you're probably going to miss him until he starts doing the daily FBI press conference.
Yeah, I watched Dan, his podcast, and listened to his radio show every day for the past 2+ years that I haven't been working. And he's a stalwart for Republicans, but he said, I have to give this all up because I have a calling, another calling in life. And then he got very emotional about what this whole thing.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to do my best that I can do. And I hope everybody understands what I'm doing. He said, I guarantee you it's not for the money, because he's making like $4.9 million a year Now he's gonna make like $214,000 a year or something like that.
Right.
But his business,
Yep.
they changed it. He had to resolve Dan Bongino, whatever, and turn it into a whole different business. And his wife,
Yep.
Paulina, is running that now.
Right.
And what pisses me off, Dave and Chuck, is my radio station that I listen to him on. They don't cover the new guy. They went with what's his name? Shit, I can't remember his name. He went with another guy to do and he's okay, but he's boring as hell, and he gives good information, but
Yeah.
he's boring as hell. So I really haven't listened. I haven't listened to any of the new podcasts because I get Rumble alerts on my phone with every new podcast
Yeah.
that comes out every morning for the guy that replaced Dan, and I haven't listened to a single one. I mean, it's but it kind of made me mad that Dan left, but I gotta
Yeah.
give kudos to the guy because he needs to fix this shit. He really needs to help fix this
Yep.
shit in this country. Get
Yep.
rid of the nonsense and the bullshit that's going on in the FBI, everywhere. CIA, DEI, the whole
I
9 yards.
I could be wrong, but I think something's going to happen, and he's going to become FBI director.
It,
But I could
it,
be wrong. But I just think it's an interesting way of getting him in as FBI director is about to unfold in
that's
front
what
of us.
he during his show for several weeks. He mentioned that. I would like to be FBI director, and but you know, I'm not best buds with Trump. I know
No.
Trump. We have eaten lunch with him and at Mar-a-Lago, and we met several times. But it ain't like I call him on the phone every day and ask him for
No.
favors. Well, they gave it to
Yep.
to Cash Patel, and
Yep.
which is a good guy, and
Yeah, he's
yeah,
a good guy.
he's a
He's a
very
good guy.
smart man, and
But I just think I
it,
could be wrong.
Dan.
I mean, I
But
very well could be
anything can
wrong,
happen,
but
and Dan could
but
weasel his ass up. I mean,
but Dan's a smart guy, and he doesn't even have to weasel his ass up. He's just a smart guy,
yeah, if he does a
and
better job,
maybe it's Cash Patel. Maybe Cash is. It's just I'd see Cash is a little more quiet, a little more reserved, kind of cocky at times, and Dan can be cocky too, but America sees Dan in a different way.
yeah, he's cocky, but uh, he knows what he's talking about. He's the one that broke a whole lot of this Secret Service shit, FBI shit, CIA shit, DE, DEI shit, all this crap. And he questioned this. He still, I bet he still questions this whole
Yeah,
uh, uh J6 thing where uh
yeah,
uh Kamala Harris was at the
The
DNC
DNC. Yeah.
and not
yeah.
there to vote because
She,
they
they
needed
knew
her vote to secure the vote.
she is.
And then they had all these pipe
She's gonna
bombs,
be.
these two pipe bombs, and nobody knows who this pipe bomber is, but there's more shit coming out. They got better video. They got all this good shit.
They're gonna get Biden up there, and he's going to just crack if he hasn't already.
Oh yeah.
And he's just going to start spitting out everything. Then they will get. I think, Kamala, because they will ask. The 25th Amendment is there just for that reason, and you didn't use it on him, and a lot of other crap happened. Are you part of that? Then she's gonna crap and say Obama and Clinton and this one and that one, and
Oh shit.
I really don't know. But anyway, it's coming up on 9:15. We went 15 minutes over. So
She'll become a turncoat on every one of them because she don't want to be implicated. But she still never said that she was at the DNC that day. She never admitted to that.
Yep. All right, so Chucky, what do you got to say to close it out? Then I'm going to Nikki and let him close it out because he came in last.
No problem. Nick, I'm glad you were able to join. I know it's frustrating when you try to get stuff done, sometimes on the confuser, I call it. It's just, they seem to make it harder and harder for you to do shit. And, we got 44 degrees up here in Wisconsin, and partly cloudy skies right now, and I don't know how cold it's supposed to get tonight, but I want to thank everybody in the chat for joining us. Good questions and comments again tonight, and everybody else that joined us here. Michael Anthony tried it on his phone, but it kept kicking him off.
Yep.
And I'd like to thank him for trying, to be on here. Jerry, as usual, good to see him again, and you, Nick, and Mr. Dave, our host for the show tonight. So everybody stay safe. See you next time.
All right, Chucky. All right, Nikki, any parting words?
Sorry I'm late, but
that's okay.
Given the circumstances.
I don't find anybody. We just deal with whatever life throws us.
But battling with Dad's illnesses and trying to get help from the VA all these years has just been the biggest debacle in the world. And we're trying, we're fighting, we're not going to stop. And so it is what it is. Mom has a destiny, and it's with the VA. She's hope it doesn't resort to a phone call because she'll never get an answer. If the website doesn't work, I guarantee you the phone lines don't work.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I made it at least to get on and say what I had to say. And thanks everyone for coming. Thanks for the comments. Thanks, Chucky. Dave for hosting this show, and of course Jerry. And I thank myself for finally showing up. Give myself some kudos finally. But
kudos.
Yeah. AMREP tomorrow night.
AMREP tomorrow night, 7:00.
7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. My time.
Central.
The good time. Yeah.
Okay. I'll come on at 6 p.m. tomorrow night.
Good night, Jodell.
Yeah, that'd be 5:00 my time, Dave. They don't do that shit.
Okay. Well, Chuck and I will come on and play music for an hour. We'll be the opening act tomorrow night.
There you go.
And then we'll both get copyright violations and we'll miss the
for an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. This spin is for Nikki. This roll is for Nikki's dad.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. All right, everyone.
That'll work. All right, gentlemen.
Bonsoir.
All right, let's see. Bonsoir. Bonsoir.
Out.
Let's see. Do that one. Do that one. No, wait a minute. We do that one. That was kind of rude. I apologize for that, but we're going to close it out. I did tell my wife we'd be done somewhere between 8:30 and 9:00. It's 9:15. So we are going to be done. Hey, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock on the American Rebellion blogger page. And with that, I thank everybody for watching and everybody that was on.